Hello and welcome. In this video, we are going to learn how to run a scraping automation through a proxy service. Send a few hundred requests to the same site from the same address, and that address gets blocked. A proxy is how you stop being one address. There are many proxy services to choose from, and they all sell the same thing: a pool of addresses to borrow. This one is Webshare. It is cost-effective, it has a free tier to try it with, and it is what we will set up today. Whichever provider you pick, you end up with the same three things: an address, a port, and a way of proving the request is yours. Before any of that, we need something to measure with: a small flow, 3 nodes. An inject node to start it, renamed to start. Open browser, which starts a real Chrome on the robot machine. This is the node every proxy setting in this video lives on. And open link to point that browser at a page. Which page? First, we need to know what the robot looks like from the outside, so that later we can tell whether it changed. A single click on open link opens its properties. HTTP bin will tell us. It answers with the address the request came from and nothing else. Save the flow, because a robot runs what is saved and not what is on your screen. Now run it on a robot. Chrome opens on the robot machine, and the page takes a moment to arrive. And there is the answer, the address the rest of the internet sees when this robot calls out. Keep it in view. This exact address is the one the proxy service has to be told about in a moment. Every request the robot sends carries this address. A site that is counting will eventually stop answering it. This is the account page for the proxy service, and this is the part of it we want: the rotating endpoint. One address to send everything to, and every request that goes through it comes out of a different address from the pool. There are 2 ways to prove a request is yours, and the page offers them at the top. The first is by address. The proxy recognizes the machine a request came from and asks for nothing else. With that method, it gives you a domain name and a port, 9999. And underneath, the source address the account accepts, the robot machine's own address, the one HTTP bin just showed us. The list of accepted addresses lives in Proxy Settings, under IP authorizations. It has to be the external address of the machine the robot runs on, not the machine you are reading this on, unless they are the same one. The page is helpful here. It shows the address you are browsing from and offers to add that one in a single click. Add new IP address and enter the robot machine's address, the one we saw on HTTP bin a minute ago. Then save. One caveat, and it is the reason this method is not always the right one: it holds only while that address stays the same. On most home and office connections, it does not. When it changes, the proxy stops answering, and you come back here and edit the list. From an address on this list, though, the proxy asks for no username and no password at all. Back to the flow, everything a proxy needs is on open browser. Proxy Settings, which is no proxy by default, switch it to Manual Proxy. Proxy address takes the domain name, a colon, and the port from that page. And proxy authentication stays on no authentication because our address is on the list. That is the whole of the first method. Save. Run it again. Same flow, same page, one property different. And the address has changed. That is not our machine anymore, it is one of the proxy pool. Nothing about the robot moved. The request simply left through somewhere else. Stop it and run it one more time. A rotating endpoint means what it says. A different address again. Scrape 1,000 pages through this, and no single address carries all 1,000 requests. The second method does not care which machine a request comes from. Switch authentication method to username and password, and what the page offers changes. The same domain name and a different port, 80, not 9999. The port is part of the method here, so it is worth reading off this page rather than remembering it. And now there is a username and a password, which are the credentials this endpoint wants instead of an address. Use this method when the robot machine has no fixed address, or when you do not know which machine it is going to be. A username and a password do not belong typed into a node. They belong in a vault. The vault is a surface of the workspace on the left rail, and it holds items. An item is one credential. The kind of item decides which fields it has, and a proxy is a login, a username and a password. Name it after what it opens, because this name is what you pick from inside the node. Then the username from the proxy page. And the password, which the field masks as it goes in. Save. It is encrypted in the browser before it leaves, so what the server keeps is unreadable to us and to anyone who takes it. Back on Open Browser, 2 things change for the second method, and 1 thing is added. The port first, 80, the one that Page showed beside the username. Then proxy authentication, from no authentication to basic authentication, which adds proxy credentials, and it cannot be typed into. It takes a reference to a vault item. The vault and the item inside it. The node never holds the password. The robot fetches it at runtime and decrypts it with a key only it has. Save. Run it. The browser opens with the proxy configured, and the credential comes out of the vault on the robot. A borrowed address again, and this time it would have worked from any machine, on any connection. There is a third option in that same dropdown, and it needs no provider at all. Robomotion Proxy. No address, no port, no credentials, select it, and the browser goes out through our pool. It is not free of everything. It spends proxy request credits from your workspace. Those are topped up on the subscriptions page of the admin console, and if you have them, this is the shortest path there is. So 1 node, 3 ways to borrow an address. Whitelist the machine, keep a credential in a vault, or use ours. And whichever you choose, the flow is the same flow. Thank you for watching.